Welcome to the Joe Cohen Show. Join me as I share my experience with biohacking and invite top health experts to explore the latest technology, supplements, research, and resources for optimizing your body and brain. Hey everyone, I'm excited to announce that for the sixth time, I will be going back to the world's most advanced biohacking center in India. And the reason I'm going back for the sixth time is because every time I go so far, I learn a lot of new information. And so I'm going to go through what kinds of testing I'm doing there and what kind of information I'm learning. They do have these equivalents in the US. It's just way more expensive, way more time consuming to do. So I'm going to be going through the program, what I'm testing for, why I'm testing for it. So we'll start with the blood testing. The blood testing tests for over 200 markers. It's about 210, 250 markers. And I'll go through some of those tests that I do regularly. One of them is the omega 3 and omega 6. And I think that that's very important to do to make sure that your levels are in the optimal range. It's very hard to know based on just general supplementation if you're getting the right levels. And so you could do that test in the US. Again, it's just all these tests are going to cost money and the costs go up. So you can do every test that I'm talking about in the US, or I don't know in other countries, but I know in the US you can, and it's just expensive to do them all. Next up, the fat soluble vitamins. So you can check your fat soluble vitamins, and they're pretty good indicators of your status if you have enough of them. That includes vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. And you don't want to supplement with these if you have high enough levels. One quick example of that is when I started supplementing with histidine, because histidine uses B6, my B6 actually went from quite high to quite low. And so that's just one example of, if you're changing your regimen a lot, you want to make sure your B vitamins are pretty steady. B vitamins also tend to change if you're sick. All your nutrients tend to typically go down. They can, depending on the infection, if you're sick. So definitely recommend checking the B vitamins. Allergies. So getting a total IgE panel, an allergy panel could be good, but also just testing your total IgE. What was very clear to me when I look at other people's results, when they come on the trip or just in general, people who have more food sensitivities tend to have higher IgE levels. And as my food sensitivities have gone down, actually, my IgE levels have gone down. So I've checked my IgE in the past and I found that I had high IgE levels at one point, and I only tested it once in the past, a long time ago when I had a lot of more food sensitivities, and now it has gone down. So it's not a bad marker for looking at food sensitivities in general. Then your sugar markers, you don't only want to test fasting glucose, which is typically tested. You want to check. Then the thyroid panel, a lot of doctors will only check TSH, sometimes, T3 or T4, but you need to really check TSH, T4, T3, total T3, and total T4. Each one of those has different implications, right? And there's a lot of research on that. If you get any of these tests done, by the way, you upload it to the lab analyzer, it tells you what are the implications, what are the optimal range, and what are the recommendations. But getting these tests done is important, right? You can't tell a lot of these. You can tell what your predisposition is if you're maybe going to have a little higher or lower. But in reality, because the environment is very complex, you need to know these things more directly. Another really good one is the DEXA scan. So here you measure your bone density, and this one is recommended to take every year at least. I took it a few times, very helpful information. Then there's some more advanced cardio tests, especially, if you've never taken them, I think it's a good idea. So that's an electrocardiogram, an echocardiogram, treadmill test. For me at this stage, I don't take them because I already know my results. We mentioned your omega 3, omega 6 profile, the ultrasound screening of whole abdomen and pelvis. That is very important to do at least once. So if you have any kind of inflammation in different organs, it will detect it if there's any kind of abnormalities, and that's something that people should at least do once every couple of years, something that most people don't do. Then there's a coronary artery calcification score. I think that is a good test to do once every 10 years. If, you know, if you're optimal, then you could do it once every 10 years. If you're not, maybe a little more frequently, but that is a good place to see if you have calcification in your arteries. Next is they do posture assessments and then they fix it so they can show you what your posture is like. And so this one I love doing because, you know, it's very important to take care of your posture. And so they very much focus on that in terms of physical therapy, and they can fix your posture pretty quickly with the physical therapy. And so they do these tests to see what your posture is like and how to improve it. There is a gut microbiome test. There's a food intolerance test. I think that's a good test to see if you have gut permeability. There's a sculpting machine. So this one Brian Johnson uses, and it can help you sculpt a six pack. So when I go there, I use it. There's a VO2 max test, which I think is very useful. You want to check this every quarter, maybe every 6 months. It's very helpful to know your VO2 max. I had one of the highest VO2 max that they've ever tested. It was 62 around. And so that is extremely high, especially for my age, which is 36. Then they have a bunch of different treatments, like they have a bunch of physiotherapists who go through different exercises, sauna, there's facial skin, hydrofacials. So they do a facial skin analysis and a hydrofacial, photon light therapy. They have different kinds of drinks and IVs, and they give you supplements. They've got these breathing kits to help your breathing. They can do a sleep test to see if you have sleep apnea. So a lot of people have sleep apnea, and they actually caught a few people that had serious sleep apnea in the program that I brought people with. And they also do yoga sessions, stability and zone 2 training, body massages every day, foot reflexology, back rubs, stretching, mashing, ashiastu therapies. So those I love doing those as well. Basically, every once in a while you want to just really do a decompression of all your muscles, and it does wonders for the body. They do dental cleanings and scalings, and just a whole bunch of dental services. So I find that again, I don't have time to go to the dentist. Very convenient to get a cleaning there and whatever I need for my dental health. They have some cold adaptation as well, and then they give you these buckets of ice after the sauna. Then for some of the other testing that I mentioned is the whole body MRI, the EEG, the sleep apnea test. They've got psychological assessment and counseling. So they give you an in-depth psychological test. And then you can consult with any kind of specialist, including a dermatologist, a dentist, ophthalmologist, ENT, orthopedist, and other specialists. And of course, you can consult with me. Basically everyone who comes with me, I go through all of their lab test results, guide them on which test to take, talk about their health, and we go through their results with them. If you don't have a gene test, then you could do it there as well, and we can give you the results with self decode. And also you upload all of your lab tests to self decode, and we then go through all of your lab tests. So that's pretty much it's a very jam-packed. There's, healthy food, everything is five-star food, five-star hotel, great service, people around the clock. You're just busy around the clock with your health. 7 days, boom, boom, boom. From one treatment to the other, to test and treatment and consultation and this, that, and the other. So the idea is that, you have 52 weeks in a year. 1 week, you take a break, you just focus on your health. You're with other people who are there as well, focusing on their health. So Simland is going to be coming as well. He's bringing a group of people as well. So me, my group, Simland, his group, we go together, and we, essentially we have these two groups together, plus sometimes there's groups that are already there. And yeah, and these kinds of we do these cutting edge tests. There's also an epigenetic aging test from True Diagnostic, and I took the test twice there. This time I was able to my score was actually one of the best ever recorded, which was 0.63. So to compare, just people who know, Brian Johnson has a score of 0.69, and that means that for every year, calendar year, he's aging 0.69 years. For me, that is 0.63 years. Through my supplement protocol, I can see how many labs are in the optimal range. I get all of my labs in the optimal range. I do treatments. And then this is kind of an area under the curve test where you can look at just one number and see how you're doing overall. So 0.63 is actually a very good number. And I look forward to getting that down even more. I have been doing certain things that I think have been improving my health quite significantly based on the testing that I've been doing. And I think, and I've got more energy, and I recover much more quickly. We have to see if how that impacts different tests like VO2 max, all my lab tests. So that's the thing, is that for me, I always change my protocol, and I like to see how these things are impacting. If you don't change your protocol as often, you still need to do these tests at least once, and I think twice, right, to get the baseline. Especially the blood tests, you take it when you come, you could take it when you leave. And then there's other blood tests that I did not mention as well that I take. And you want to make sure that the thing with lab tests are that you can have some blood tests that are amazing, some blood tests that are not good, right? It's hard to know what is going to be optimal or not unless you check for these markers. It's very difficult to tell just based on how you're feeling. You need to look at it in an objective way. One last benefit that I really like about the program is that you can get any drug that you want based on these doctors prescribing in India. I've got many years supply of rapamycin, so which would have been very difficult to get in the US, and I wouldn't have trusted getting it online. And so you get it from reliable pharmacies there. And so I got many years worth of rapamycin. I don't know how many years worth, but pretty much like probably a lifetime supply, to be honest. And then I got other drugs like low dose trazodone, 25 milligrams. I really like it. It really knocks me out if I want to go to sleep, especially if I'm traveling. And then there's just other drugs in general that, I've wanted to try out and didn't have the ability to just easily get them. So that's another benefit. They have all these specialists there that can tell you, hey, if you would benefit from a drug or not. And these drugs are really cheap there, and they have all the doctors there prescribing whatever you need. Whereas, good luck getting rapamycin in the US. You got to go to some seriously expensive anti-aging clinic that, just cost a couple $1,000s to walk in the door, and they'll give you a 1 month supply of rapamycin. So I highly recommend that anybody who wants to take their health to the next level, they should join me in this program. If not, you're welcome to get any of the tests that we discussed here in this podcast. And the cost of the program is $6,000, but that's all inclusive. So that includes hotels and meals and everything. And so that's actually quite a good deal, because when you take the value of all these tests, it comes out to be anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000, depending on what, especially if you're getting treatments and speaking to specialists. But it's all done there conveniently. And so you could do all this in 1 week, and it allows you to really see what is going on inside your body and take your health to the next level. So join me in this next retreat. It's going to be on February 5th, and it's going to be for a week. And I hope to see you there.